Instagram was still here. We're just waiting for the software to do its magic.
Yep.
Okay, so we're live on Facebook. Hi, everybody. My name is Mo Ilyas. I'm from New York. I own New York's premier frame shop, Big Apple Art Gallery and Framing. And you can find me. I can find my website at framers.com. I have my good friends David Waldman and David Wetterstrom. David Wetterstrom, go ahead and introduce yourself. Talk to us about your shop a little bit.
Hi, I'm Dave Wetterstrom from Framemakers of Tao. I'm the premier frame shop in Palo, Ohio. Of course, I'm the only frame shop in Palo, Ohio. Today we're with Dave Waldman. Mo and I got to spend a little bit of time with Dave and his lovely wife Rebecca last week after we attended FrameCon and did a follow-up spline corner course at Vermont Hardwoods. So we got to see the facility firsthand, and we wanted to share that with everybody else so that you guys could see what an incredible place this is and what an incredible group of employees that Dave has. His moldings are I can't express how nice they are, how caring, and how he understands the framer as well as the wood and what needs to happen. It's a mix that is, I think is pretty rare in our industry. So I'd like to introduce my friend, Dave Waldman.
Hi, David. Nice to see you again.
Good morning, Mo. Or I guess it's afternoon already. This day has flown by.
Yeah, Vermont is in a different time zone from New York. I get that.
Yeah.
Hey, David Wetterstrom, that shirt is bringing out the color of your eyes. You look great. I have to embarrass David just a little bit. All right, guys. So tell us where you're from. We have Mehdi from Moscow. I'm sorry, Mehdi, your team lost today. I watched the game. I was rooting for you. I think your team was the better team, but Portugal gets to score anyway. So that was bad. But hey, you're having fun, and we're stuck here making frames. So I think you're still doing better than most of us. Okay, so give us some likes, give us some love, so we can get more audiences notified that we're online. And we're going to go ahead and start with David. David, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how you started in the company and all that.
Sure. I started actually right out of high school. I wanted to work with wood. I've always enjoyed working with wood. And one thing led to another, and I ended up owning the company. It's been, it'll be 36 years next week that I've been with Vermont Hardwoods. And a lot of changes over the years, but still working with wood and still love it.
So you didn't own the company in the beginning. You worked there at the company?
Yes, I started just as the kind of a sales manager in the front. Ended up running the office, and our division was part of a larger company that got bought out, and they were going to close our division down. So it was offered to employees to buy, and my brother-in-law was also working for the company at the time. We bought it together, and that was in 1988. And then in 2009, I bought him out, and it's been just my wife Rebecca and I since then. Plus, of course, all of our great employees.
So you made your brother-in-law an offer he cannot refuse, right?
Actually, he made me an offer. Yeah, he always was dabbling in cars and always wanted to work on cars, and so he ended up starting an auto repair shop, and is enjoying that now.
David, I wanted to actually thank you for hosting us at your house. You let us crash at your house for one night. You also invited us for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. So that was very nice. So you're a gracious host, and we appreciate that a lot.
Thanks. We really enjoyed having you both.
Thank you. When you told me in secret, you said, "Well, no, next time don't bring Dave." So I'm not gonna tell him that.
Well, Mo, I've got some information. Rebecca already, invited me back. So
I didn't get that invite. That's terrible, man. All right, so let's talk about your business, Dave. So my impression was that you did more in flooring and other types of wood than you did in framing. However, when I asked you that question, you said, no, you do more framing than you do any other types of wood. Is that right?
That's right. Picture framing related business is about 2/3 of our business. And then the rest of it is primarily flooring, as well as some other, products related to that, like architectural moldings and stair treads, things like that. But it's mostly picture frame molding.
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, I knew before that because I talked to you before, but I was kind of surprised. I think Dave asked you the same question when we were there, and I think he was likewise surprised. So that's good to know. So
Yeah.
your primary business is picture framing, and oh, how is my chop coming along actually?
I think we'll see it somewhere along the line today.
Oh, good, because I gotta get those on Friday, right?
Yeah, well, if someone asked me who had the most rush orders, I would have to say Mo. I think every order is a rush order. It's that New York lifestyle. Everybody wants things in a hurry.
But what am I going to do? It's good stuff, and people like good stuff. So
yeah.
All right, so let's talk about your tour. Tell us what we're going to do first. We did the tour, so we kind of know what you're going to show us. But let's talk about a brief description of how we're going to do the tour and what we're going to show our audience. Sure.
We're just going to kind of walk you through start to finish from where the material comes into the warehouse through the different processes that it goes through to make a molding, including some finishing and chopping and all that part of it. Yeah. We'll actually be working a little bit on some spline corner frames. We don't have a whole process to show you today, but you'll get a glimpse of it. You'll certainly recognize it.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. That class was a lot of fun. I hope you guys do it again, and maybe we'll come down. And this time, I promise not to bring Dave with me.
Well, then you're not allowed.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, so Dave, go ahead. This is your ball game. Go ahead, tell us what we're doing next.
Dave or David?
David.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So we're going to take a little tour out into the warehouse and kind of give you an overview of what things look like out there. So let me turn the view around here if I can remember how to do it.
Are you in the office right now?
Yes, I'm in the office.
I'd love to see the desk. Guys, look at this desk. This is an amazing desk that David created. You provided the wood and somebody made it for you, correct?
Yes, I provided the wood and it had the basic design. The fine details were developed by the person that actually made it. Some pretty nice walnut I've been saving for a long time, and finally got it put to use.
Yep.
Guys, I tell you, this desk, you can buy a nice Toyota Corolla for it and place this desk. That's an amazing
desk. While you're there, Dave, can you pan over to your flooring in there? Because that's
sure.
Too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a nice detail. I love that too.
So, Mo, I think you need to hook it over so that it can stay on Dave's camera.
I will do that because, all right, so it says Spotlight Video. Guys, I did it, so if you see it showing properly, as in Dave's camera showing bigger, let us know. The software is kind of finicky. I don't know if it's working.
Yeah, it looks good to me. It's full screen on my device, which is really good because that's what I was kind of hoping for.
Oh, good. That's perfect. Okay,
so this is the warehouse.
From your office, right? So you have like the view, okay?
Yeah.
Look at all that inventory. That is crazy.
Shop here. So.
Yeah, we do have a lot on hand. Our maple we only buy in the wintertime because that's the brightest, whitest material, and for some reason framers, their maple to look like it was paper.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's less problems with stain. There's also, less problems with color. We also maintain relative humidity here. 50 should be about the max, and we're right about that today. We have the doors open because it's relatively nice out. It was 49 degrees this morning.
So all your storage, you control humidity, correct?
Yes. If it starts getting too warm and humid, we have air conditioning, close the doors up, turn the AC on, and get things back down. In the wintertime, we add humidity with humidifiers. Otherwise, it gets too dry.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us what's going on here.
What do you stock that you work with? What species?
All right, I don't think you can hear us. He's in a saw room, but we're going to go ahead and just listen to the description.
Yeah, so this is again, rip saw. We have multiple blades in there where we put one board in and get several pieces out. can't really see too much of the action, you know, inside there right now. But right now, like, there's 4 blades in there.
For everybody who's following us on Instagram, you cannot see the video. You have to go into our Facebook group, Framers Only. You can type in, go to Facebook, search for Framers Only group, and you're going to be able to see the video. But you know, there's really cool stuff happening here. You've got all these lasers, and they're putting it this big board, and the other side it comes out nice. Dave, does it come out sanded as well once it's cut, or does it just cut?
No, this is just sawn. The lasers there show where the blades are lined, so we can line it up and take the right amount off. Yeah. It comes out just with a sawn edge. You can see it's some saw marks here. It'll be going through other processes where the finishing is done.
Dave, for just that mention, how big was that piece that resulted out of that machine? Is it about a 4x4?
No, this is it's 2 inches thick. It's like 2 3/4 inches wide.
Okay. All right. So Kathy says it's working. Perfect. I think our camera setup is working out. That's nice. Okay.
Yeah. So after the pieces get ripped, they come over to a joiner where we used to prep them for the Moulder. This is a process where we flatten and straighten the pieces. You can see it right now. He's taking several passes off each end of that board because there's a bit of a bow in it. Yeah. And it's the only way to get the pieces flat and straight.
David, tell us, what is a joiner? What does a joiner do?
So a joiner is a planer, really. It's got a spinning cover head on the bottom, and the in-feed table is adjustable, so you can take more or less off the in-feed, and the out-feed table is parallel with the knife. So as the piece goes through, it takes off more ahead and then less afterwards, depending on how you've arranged it.
Okay, you know, I don't think with the saw going, I understood what you said, but I'm assuming a joiner is like a planer.
It is a planer, but it's specialized where you see how there's a gap right there, and there's not a gap there because he's taking more material off where the board is warped.
I get that. Fair. Okay. All right. So now it comes to the nitty-gritty.
All right. So after the pieces get straightened out, they go over to the Moulder. These are blanks. They go through the Moulder.
So what is a Moulder? Can you describe what a Moulder does?
Sure. A Moulder is a machine that cuts off 4 sides of a piece of wood. Those pieces you saw at the joiner are being turned into this right now. Pretty simple shape, but that's what happens. We'll go over and look at the machine, and you can see what's going in and what's happening in there and what's going out.
All right, let's take a look.
So those are the pieces that came off the joiner there.
Yeah.
And they feed into the machine here.
Yeah. David, is this being also sanded at the same time? Are those sanding?
No, sanding is a separate process. This is actually just, it's really like a planer. It's actually planing the sides with a shape on them.
Okay.
And as it passes each of the 5 heads, more work is being done. And you can see in this clear part here, it now has the rabbit put into it. Sure. And it comes out ready to go.
Sure, I see that. Okay. So instead of me running this through my table saw in 3-4 passes, in one pass you get the whole thing cut to the shape you want it to be.
Right, and it's a plane surface as opposed to a sawn surface, which is much smoother and will take less work to prepare for finishing.
Yeah.
So what we're doing here is we're inspecting the pieces for straightness, for milling defects or wood defects, and trimming it. So we're putting out a product that's virtually 100% usable.
Interesting that you cut that right after it comes out rather than when you're pulling it from the from the stock. So
I can't quite hear you.
So you're cutting it right away rather than putting bad stock into your bin.
Right.
Cutting it out then.
Yep.
So.
All right, so that's kind of this product here is actually not going to be sanded. We'll show you the sander in a minute. This is the customer has requested that we not sand it because they want to save the money. But we have another machine that's very similar. This one here is what we use for flooring. So we're taking, this is Southern Yellow Heart Pine, and the same principle, just a larger machine. It has about twice the amount of horsepower, about 150 horsepower compared to 70 on the other one. It has 6 heads, and it's also wider. It goes up to 13 inches. This here is only about 7 inches, but we have the capability of going up to 13 inches. Now this comes out, just like completed flooring. You saw the pieces going in, they're just boards, rough boards, coming out as a completed product.
Nice, very nice.
So those red lines that we were looking at in the other machine, those were the laser lines, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, they're just visual lasers. They don't do any cutting or anything. They're just showing where the blades are.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you were talking about a joiner, is that a joiner as in J-O-I-N, or is it a jointer with a T?
There is a T in there. It's sort of silent. We say joiner, but it's all it's actually a T in the word. It's designed to give you a good joint, so you have 2 flat, straight surfaces that come together to make a joint like in a panel.
So technically, if I'm putting 2 legs of frame together like that, right, in a 45 degree and attach them, am I joining them or am I jointing them? I know the T is silent.
No, that would just be joining with no T.
Okay, so jointing will be making it kind of flat in a
right.
I get it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So tell us what's next.
Okay, we're going to go look at the sander now.
Yeah. All right. So Rob Markov says, how much does a molder like that cost? Rob, if you have to ask.
You can't afford it.
Pretty much.
They're 100, 150,000.
Yeah.
Depending on the features and model. So this is material. Go ahead.
So Dave says this just costs a little bit more than his desk in his office. Just a bit more.
Right.
Well, one thing I'm noticing is how clean everything is, that there's no sawdust anywhere.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, we didn't clean up special for this. This is, our guys take very good care of the place. We find it's easier to keep up with it and safer and more, just more pleasant to work.
Yeah, no kidding. You should see my place.
I this is your place, though.
That's why I'm grumpy all the time.
So this is material that's already been milled from the Moulder from a previous run. This is a profile sander. It has various sanding heads. The ones we primarily use are a belt, just a flat belt that sands the surfaces.
Yeah.
Because most of our profiles are just simple rectangular shapes. But this machine does have the ability to use wheels, which can be shaped. You can see this one here has a couple different shapes on it. It's not being used right now. We also use this, just a flat stock spray pad there. We actually use that to polish some brass on a molding we did a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So we have Ross. He's saying he's sorry to be late. Ross, you're always late, brother. What's going on here? So, what is the control panel for this machine? Is there like a computer-operated machine?
Oh yes, there's computer stations in between each head that have some controls on them. The main control panel is up here at the beginning. It's actually pretty large. You can see it's bigger than this guy operating right here.
Oh, I see.
There's it's all touchscreen. It has multiple screen levels. Can't really show you too much right here, but it has a whole big computer in there.
Sure. Now, how much footage can you produce in a day if you're set up to produce one profile from one type of wood? What's your capacity in a day, in a single day?
It will depend somewhat on the profile and how much work has to go into it, but between say 5,000 and 12,000 lineal feet.
1,000. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yep.
You know, I have a customer trying to place an order, so you know, I'm just gauging capacity.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because you know you always need it in a rush, right, Mel?
I do. When David gets a call from me or Mary, they know what's going on.
Yeah. All right. So we move on to the frame room.
Yeah.
So this is where we basically make everything, and then it goes into our storage facility, where when you call to place an order,
yeah,
you know, we're going to pull the stuff. Although that profile I just mentioned that was not going to be sanded, that's actually a custom profile. It's not something that we stock. It's made specifically for this one customer. They order it, we make it, and we ship it.
Okay. So all these machines, Dave, where are they made?
Well, the last one we looked at, the profile sander is made in Italy. That's where all the good profile sanders are made. It's kind of funny how different countries seem to specialize in different kinds of machines. The Moulder made in Germany, Ripsaw is made in Germany. We do have a couple of Taiwanese machines, much to our dismay. they're just not as good.
They're making bad machines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see here at our storage, we're really where we want it. 40% is really ideal.
Sure.
This is much easier to maintain. It's a smaller space. So this is all of our stock inventory where, you know, we're going to pull an order to do for what you placed.
Yeah. So Dave, you chop using a Morso, right?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, here's our Morso right here.
Who's that?
This is Michael.
Hey, man, how are you? This is Mo.
He's actually my nephew. In spite of that, he's a pretty good guy.
Yeah. Do you pay him well? Because nephews don't get paid well.
No, he gets paid pretty well, I think. I mean, he's still working here after all this time.
Hey, can we talk to Michael afterwards, because we'll find out the truth.
Yeah, so we love the Morso. I feel that for hardwoods, it's one of the best machines you can use. I mean, it's quiet, it's clean. You know, you have real good control. You can see exactly where you're cutting. And yeah, it may be a little slower than a saw, but it does such a beautiful cut. We're just very, very happy with it.
What's the deal with the scanning and the moving thing? That's the automatic stop. Can you?
Yes. Sure. This is it's called the Tiger Stop. It's generally used for saws, usually in more industrial applications. But we have it set up to measure for our frames, so we don't have the typical scale you'd see on a Morso. Yeah. We have a barcode system. This is the control panel for the Tiger Stop, and you can type numbers into it, or as we do, we have barcodes that we can scan. These barcodes are generated by a report that we have written that interfaces with our order database, and it accounts for the molding width and the rabbet width, and whether you've specified, you know, an exact dimension or an allowance or outside dimension or site size. It measures the outside, because that's really what you're doing when you're measuring with this kind of a stop. It's the same type of a stop as in the Morso. It's just going against the miter. The Morso system just has a way for accounting for all those things. This does it for us.
So wait a second. So the frame you're cutting for me, right? The one with the expanded lip.
Yes.
It's not going to work with your barcode, right? Because it's going to have to be manual.
Well, actually, because we do a fair amount of custom work, we have written a special page on our spreadsheet that we do our calculations, and it accounts for those things. So I actually pretended that your molding was a custom order. I just put in the rabbet width and the molding width and the allowance, and we printed out a barcode for that.
Oh, that's very
In
cool.
fact, actually, look at that. Here's your order right here. Believe it or not, this was not scripted. So there's the order. And on the back, you can see this was the originally generated barcodes. The first one is normal. Second one we crossed out. And then I printed this from our spreadsheet to give us the dimensions we need.
Okay. So just a linear barcode. It just gives you a number.
It's just a number.
A linear, right? Okay. So that's
Yep.
okay, I see that. Okay. All right.
Now, I'm noticing that Michael's cutting that with the face up. But don't you typically work on your hardwood, cut it face down?
Well, we can when we do when we can, but you might notice from this point here that's actually a angle on the top.
Okay.
So It's a little bit hard to see. There you go.
Yeah.
So you can't do that one upside down.
Makes sense.
This is actually another custom profile. The customer, our customer had picked out a profile they liked, but they didn't like the black that was available from another supplier, so they had us custom make it in our standard black finish.
That looks good.
I love that profile myself. So
Yeah. So
All right.
when you picked the molding from that bin you showed us earlier, those were not painted, right? So you take the molding, you finish it, and then you bring it back to the chopper. Is that how it works?
Yes, that's right. Yep, we pull everything to order and finish it per order. We have so many options of finishes and profiles and woods that if we tried to keep it all in stock, we'd need a warehouse just for that, a huge warehouse. And then, of course, you'd always, be running out of what you wanted and not having what you needed, and having extra stuff, and this and that.
So, David, when are we going to meet Mary?
Actually, this is Mary right here. She's
Hi, Mary.
yeah, she can't hear you because I have my headset on.
Sure.
But yeah, she does everything. She answers the phone, writes her bill, helps with dovetail work on her Hoffman, the whole 9 yards.
Mary's awesome. Mary's very nice to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you got two Hoffmans set up. Is this a new Hoffman?
Yeah, this one here is the one they released early this year, the MU3. It has a couple of features that will make it a little bit easier to use. The adjustability of the bit depth is the biggest one. They also have these digital readouts, so you can repeat the width and the height settings. Now we use our own system, which is blocks to set them. It just takes the guesswork out and gives you repeatability. So we can reroute one rail and know that it's going to match the previous one.
Sure. All right, so this is where you make the chops.
Yeah.
And so will you be able to show us your finishing room when somebody gets the finished?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, we're going to go in there next. Right now, we've got Michael back on camera doing an assembly of one of these frames with a Hoffman. This is the new W0, which is a very, very small. Here's my finger, and there's the bits. This is a relatively small profile. It's a 1/2 inch face, 5/16 on the back, and there's plenty of room for those keys. It's a really, really strong joint. And we have a new profile actually that's only 3/8 on the face that we can also use these keys for.
So what kind of surface is he making this joint?
This is called a Phenolic Board. It's basically a plastic resin that's impregnated into a substrate. This happens to be paper. Kind of hard to see here. It's just paper that's filled with this resin. It makes a very hard, flat surface. There's all different kinds of products that they make it with and for. Different kinds of cloth, different properties like anti-static, conductivity, non-conductivity, etc. Just makes a nice, good surface to join the Hoffmans on.
I think this is the same product that they use on the Pistorius saws where the blades come down.
Yes.
Those are also Phenolic pieces.
Yep. It has a lot of uses. As you saw, we use it for our jigs, for our spline making jig. We make our table saw inserts, blade inserts out of it. It's just a really great material. Works like wood. Really hard wood, but you can use it with regular woodworking equipment. And it's very stable. Doesn't get affected by humidity or temperature changes. It's a really, really good material.
Okay, so where are we going next?
All right, we'll head back the way we came and stop in the finishing room.
Are we gonna go to the maple cookie shop too? Because
I thought you guys went there.
I picked up 4 boxes. I paid $3.25 each. I tried to buy them on Amazon. They're like $20. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah. Well, I know we finished one of the boxes off on our way back to New Jersey.
Yeah.
So
this is our spray booth. It's a relatively modest one. It's not like Alex's, but it works for us. Everything goes sprayed by hand. There's no high tech equipment here.
Yeah.
It's all just done the hard way.
So what's he spraying there? Is that a floater?
No, it's just actually a cap molding. You can see from this view here that,
Oh yeah.
He's got some other stuff down there to support it, but what he's actually spraying is just the standard cap molding.
Yeah. Okay.
And oh, look at that! You might recognize this, Mo. I think you ordered that like at 8:20 last night.
That's right. They've always bailing me out on rush jobs. I appreciate that.
Maybe you need to send him some black and white cookies there, Mo.
That's not a bad idea, actually. I should. So what's that? Is that a spline frame?
It will be. Right now it just has the slots cut.
Yeah.
It's part of a bigger order. We'll see some more of that in a minute. Just stuff in various stages, waiting for this, waiting for that. We use all water-based finishes. Most of the general finishes, which are pretty available. We use it's called the 3M PPS system for our gun, where we don't have to actually empty the gun when we're done using a particular finish. It has a sealed container. You just put the seal on it and put it away, and you only have to clean the actual gun itself.
So it's really plastic, right? So it's kind of a disposable bag and you throw it out?
Yeah, when it's used up, yeah.
So so you don't clean anything. You just clean your gun and the rest is already clean.
Just the gun, yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Do you use one of those gravity-fed guns?
Yes, they're all gravity fed.
Okay. Where are we going next?
All right, we're going to go to a room that you should be familiar with.
I don't remember this room.
Yeah, so this is here are some of the frames we're making right now.
Yeah.
These are going to be having opaque finish on them, so we're cutting the what we call a face spline, which you can see right there. There's going to be a spline that goes on top.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do that. Here's a floater that's kind of prepped for it. We do that because it minimizes movement of that joint. Just over time, the wood shrinks and swells, and you end up getting like a ghost line there, which is it's very, annoying and obvious with a flat, completely, smooth finish like a white, especially, or black. If you're doing a stain finish, it doesn't really matter. You want to see the miter, and it just doesn't show up. But on these opaque finishes, it can be a problem.
Now, when you put a face spline, doesn't the spline itself have a line? Wouldn't that show?
Sure, it has a line that going in the opposite direction. So on this one here, instead of the line that you see going this way, it's going to go this way.
Right.
So it does have a possibility of showing up, but it's not as obvious because it's not where you expect it to be. You look at a joint, you expect to see a line going this way, and even if there's just a hint of it, it just jumps right out at you. If it's going the other way, your mind almost gets tricked into thinking it's not there.
So a face spline is really more of a hiding the line, not really functioning anything, right? It doesn't have a function. Oh,
it does have function. It's not as strong as an inserted spline, but there's a lot of surface area there.
Okay.
And especially on this is a bit wider of a molding. So there's a lot of surface area there. By the time you get that on there, we actually put clamping pressure this way so that you're getting an edge-to-edge glue joint. It's pretty strong.
Okay,
but
so it does have a function.
It does have a function, but it's primarily for decoration or decorative in function.
So the jig that you're using right there,
yes.
Show us more about that because what is that? That's like a $2,000 or that's like an amazing jig, right?
I wouldn't say the jig is $2,000, although we might have spent that much on it. The jig is made out of that phenolic resin board that I was telling you about for the fence and the base. And we have this Incra jig that we use for positioning, which is, it's a few $100s. And other than that, it's just, some time. It does have, probably a little bit hard to see for this perspective. Let's see if I can see them. We have key slots on the bottom so that the jig can't come out of the table saw when you're using it. It can't slide side to side. It can't be pulled up and down. It's maybe a little more robust than you really need, but it makes it very comfortable to use it with confidence.
Yeah, it's more of a production type situation.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so besides making frames, what else do you make? What else do you sell?
Well, I have some samples brought in here.
because our showroom is a little bit off the beaten track as far as internet connectivity goes. So flooring is really the main other primary product we make. So this is what we typically do, is what's called more of a rustic grade. We call them country grades. These are white oak, hickory, and one of my favorites, cherry. And we make everything goes along with it as well. We do a lot of stair treads. Here's a stair tread with a mitered return on it. So you can see we actually cut out and then insert this piece so that when you look at the exposed end of it, you're not looking at end grain, you're looking at edge grain.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So I've got Jillian here. I missed this part. She says, oh, we love the Morso tool. I think this one we were looking at the chop room. I missed that comment before. The top measures the outside. Doesn't that mean milling accurate? Okay, so all right. Okay, so we have Steve from Dublin Airport. Where are you going, Steve? Steve is always traveling. You know, it's must be good to be Steve. You know. All right. So what's next, David? What are you going to show us next?
That's really all I have to show you today, unless there's anything specific you want to ask or something specific you want to see more of. That's pretty much the operation.
It's pretty good. It's very very cool. Dave, any questions?
Nope. It's just an amazing operation, and the quality of the product. I mean, imagine you're getting your a finished frame, finished one at a time by somebody that's actually paying attention. It's not just mass produced. They're actually looking at your board that they're using to catch your frame out. That's pretty amazing. And I never realized that. I'd always thought that you just here it is, just pull it and cut it, and it's being made for you. That's just as kind of mind blowing in this day and age.
Right.
Yeah. It's I kind of had a feeling how this operation would be, but when I went, I was really surprised at how mainstreamed you have it, streamlined you have it. There's no speck of dust. No, I mean, in a place that works basically in milling and cutting wood. So I really like it. It's very nice and organized, and I feel very comfortable when I place my order that my order is not going to get lost.
Yeah. Well, when you place it with me, I have a little bit of responsibility there.
So this is amazing. Well, I'm going to look here, see if you have any questions here. We have Harry. Harry says hello from Shrewsbury.
Harry Gaston.
Harry Gaston. We have Mary. Yeah. Sorry, I had to jump off. What is the moisture content when you ship wood? Okay, so Mary's asking a question. What is the moisture content when you ship wood for framing stock?
Between 6 and 8%.
Between 6 and 8%.
Yeah.
Okay. We have Rob is asking, can we see your dust collection, your dust collector?
Sure. It'll take me a minute to get there, so you might want to ask another question while we're going. Actually, I can feed into that a little bit.
Did you have a barbecue day today? Because I follow your page. I saw your people having a barbecue on the outside.
Yeah, we have a monthly shop meeting where we discuss various things, and we always follow it up with lunch. Usually made by Rebecca, and today we got the grill out and got some burgers and sausages and stuff, and had a little barbecue outside.
All right. So the next question is, Harry wants to see the outside. So once you're done there, I think that would be a good segue to go outside. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, we are outside now for our dust collector. Everything is outside. This is the trailer where.
Okay, I think we're going beyond your Wi-Fi limits.
Where they get made into. Okay. Is that any better?
I'm going to go ahead and take over here. What Dave's trying to show us here, this is dust collection. And from what I understand is all the dust comes in, collects into this one container that they sell to a company that makes logs for heating homes. So he sends it out. And from my understanding or my recollection, he sends this out every couple of weeks. He fills that whole entire container, and then they replace it with an empty container that they fill up. Dave's connection is not so good, so we can't see that. But this is, I think, their barbecue section. And I saw a picture of that
Okay.
on the page. So Harry says he does not want to see the trailer. Harry, the story with the trailer is dust.
Okay.
He collects his dust into the trailer and then he ships it out every couple of weeks. And there are companies who pay him for his dust. Jeremy says, great tour. One more stop in the milling room. Amazing machine. So Jeremy says, show us the milling room again. Jeremy, I don't know if we're going to have time, but you could also go back to the recording and take a look at that again. Oh, wow. What's going on here?
This is something I didn't think to show you earlier. This is our tool room where we maintain the knives for our molders. All of the profiles, the wood sections and templates and knives all get stored.
Can you pull one out?
Sure.
I don't think we saw this room when we were there in person.
Yeah. So this is the profile that we're making. We have a template that's made. We send it out and get it milled by a CNC machine, which matches the profile. And then we have knives, which are milled from the templates.
Sure.
It basically goes on a machine that works like a key duplicating machine. So the template goes over on one side, and the template and the knives all move together, and the grinder cuts that profile in there. I'm not really well set up to demonstrate this with one hand.
Sure.
But this is the machine right here. It's basically just a grinder. It's a very simple machine, but it's very, very technical, very high precision. This is the place where you follow that shape, and it gets traced into the knife.
I see. So you put in you
using
own
a
knife.
milling machine for a profile? Just a single knife, or is there multiple knives?
We use two knives, mostly for balance. And the kind of machines that we use, they're called a single knife finish, just because of manufacturing tolerances. No matter how hard you try, you really only can get one knife to do the final cut. Okay. In order to do more than that, you have to use what's called a jointed machine, and they have put the two or more knives in the head and actually dress it on the machine after it's already been set up. And that's the only way you can get more than one knife to consistently hit.
That's pretty cool. So I think this is the end of the tour. Dave, I appreciate it. I have a segue here, and then we're going to go to Dave Wetterstrom for final words.
Okay.
Harry Gaston says, even Dave's dust is awesome. I want to add to that, you should see his house.
Well, we do have dust. I'll show you. See, we're already accumulating some dust here. We'll have to clean it up at the end of the day.
You should see my saw room. Dave Wetterstrom, you want to take us out?
I just want to say thanks to Dave Waldman for his hospitality today, as well as the hospitality he showed Mo and I last week. Getting to see this in person was amazing, as well as spending some time with Dave and getting to know him a little bit better. I'd encourage everybody, if you're not familiar with the Vermont Hardwoods line, that you really owe it to yourself to take a look at it. It's a segment.
Wait a second. Are we getting paid for this?
I paid you already, Mo. Don't you remember?
That sounds like a commercial, David.
Well, I did get a duck dinner, so maybe we did get a little bit of payment there, at least for food, which is
Oh, the food was delicious. The food was awesome.
If you look at me, you can tell that food's kind of important to me. But as I say, I just think that you owe it to yourself to take a look at it. May not be for every project, but when you have that need, Dave can really handle and fill what you're looking for. So, as I say, build up your tool arsenal, and I think having, contact with Dave and Vermont Hardwoods is a good fit for that. So,
I agree. I sell Dave's stuff. I show it all the time, and I don't sell it as often as I'd like to, but people like it. It's beautiful stuff, and people do like quality, and they pay for it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, David Waldman, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. It's been really, really good. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And there'll be more questions posted there on the page, and if anybody asks, I'm sure Dave will be available to answer them.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, both of you, Davids, and have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, I want to make one more point at the end. we are streaming also live on Instagram, Framers Only. So make sure you follow us there. We'll be making some announcements there as well. Instagram account is Framers Only. It's the same name as the group. Talk to you later, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.